Hey, welcome to the Nickerson Factor. I just want to do a quick little reflection of the day because it's been the last couple of days have been interesting. As I'm being a little bit crook and I've kind of turned up to work, I don't know, about 80%, which kind of means my tolerance, my level of perceivable tolerance to people has been a lot lower than it usually is. So I think sometimes people kind of notice now that I'm just really just not enthused. Like I'm just like, oh my god, I can't deal with this right now. Like I'm out. I cannot be bothered expending energy into this situation where I find it has no use, fuck, at all. And which has been interesting. It's really like compounded on this factor of that I found within work, like no matter if I have bosses or supervisors or people who think that they're higher up than me, um, you you can almost, it sounds really weird, but you can almost like crush them at work. And I mean literally not like crushing them or making them feel like that shit or like being evil, but you can really just crush them where you make them without them knowing it. Diverge, not diverge, but kind of, I want to say kind of like kneel in a sense, but they're a little bit cautious about you. Like they know your work ethic, they know what you do, you know, they do it, and they're a little bit cautious, or they have like a little bit of a respect for it, and they can't just go in all hell blazing because they're your boss, and they kind of they've taken a step back. Now, I didn't realize how much this has come into play until I've come in like a little bit shattered. Fuck, sorry about yawning. A little bit tired. I haven't realized this so much since until that I've come in just a little bit shattered. I haven't had a lot of sleep at night, so I've come in just really like real basic drive. Okay, what's the work? Give it to me. I don't have a lot of ulterior condiments to hand out to you on my personality right now. I'm very just like centralized. Okay, I can't waste energy. It's all very streamlined, shall we say. So, in coming from that, I've kind of seen that it's been a little bit more reflected of how people ask things of me and how they see that when they want something done or they kind of approach me or kind of how things are happening, and that as you've lost a keystone, as one of our keystone kind of members has gone on holiday for a couple of weeks, you've lost that keystone, and how everyone kind of like flutters around and there's a little bit of chaos like evolving around, and then it's just to see of like who comes knocking, you know, who comes seeking the talent, who comes, you know, if they need a hand, they come see you, they come do this, they come do that, and really just seeing what's going on and seeing, you know, just people's inflated self confidence or egos are just kind of blowing fucking out of proportion. And I'm not too sure where it comes from. Like, I mean, I've discussed egos before. I don't think they're a bad thing, but there's a point where it's just if it's just all the talk, then I think it's just the most. I can't. I survive about 30 seconds of that conversation, and I've just learnt to leave. I'm just not a fan. I just can't take it. It's not me anymore. So yeah, it's been a day of that. I'll be really interested to see what tomorrow's like. Oh, fuck, sorry. I'm really interested to see what tomorrow's like, to see if it's still kind of like the same things going on, if we're finding equilibrium or if things get better. So, and amongst all this chaos, I had to do something at least constructive with my time, and I listened to the coolest doco. It was about Coca-Cola. Now, I'm not going to rant on about everything because you probably need to watch it, but there's a couple of points in there which I love that Coca-Cola did. One, at the beginning, they had a clear bottle when they started off at the beginning. Oh, the first point is the guy who created Coca-Cola, he never saw it enter its stage of fucking superstardom that it reached. He died like right before it got going. He made everything and he got it going, and then he just passed away and he never saw the end result. But they started off in these like bottles. They were just normal, just like streamlined, clear glass bottles with a paper label on the front. And back then you didn't have fridges, so you would just put them all in ice buckets and stuff. And then, as always, when you do something, heaps of competitors come along, and people started doing the same thing. So then what happened is that the label would fall off in the ice bucket. And so now you had competitors coming out, and then you never knew what you pulled out, because if the label fell off, you never knew. So then the response from Coca-Cola, or what they've done to that, is that they send out a task to the glass factories, and they're like, oh, we want to construct a bottle. Now the winning design from a glass factory, came from a guy who worked in it, who thought that there was cocoa inside. So he looked up what the cocoa bean pods looked like, and he shaped it around that. And then that was a little bit, didn't really fit too well, and didn't do the machines, and they ended up going towards a slender kind of woman shape. But it had a special feel. So no matter if you put the bottle in the ice and pulled it out, it was always going to be different from its competitors, and they patented it as well. So that was their little coup de grace of like winning against their first competition. Now, and then the other one that blew me away in that the Second World War, as up to this point, it had always been done towards a lux product or a commodity, as they go through the Prohibition era, and there was things that people wanted to go out and drink, and it was becoming like this. So all the boys were going away to war, and then what they were finding was that they could have something of home, or they have something that reminds them why they're fighting. So they wanted to send them Coke bottles of all these guys, because they're getting letters like thousands and thousands and thousands of letters flooding into them, of going, man, would love some Coke over here, But it's not the perception that we have now. It was more of it was more of an American thing. It wasn't around the rest of the world at this stage. It was just American dominance. So what they figured out, and the army backed them on this. Now, what they figured out, it was too expensive to bottle Coke in America and send it, because they had to fight for space, because predominantly it was all just weapons, fuel, and it was war supplies going on the ships. So what they came up with, that they're like, okay, what we're going to do is that instead of bottling it in the States, we're going to ship out little bottling plants to the front lines and bottle Coke there to give to the soldiers. And also what they do, they were charging them only 5 cents. Sat there, so they just charged them 5 cents for this bottle of Coke. All glass, of course, classic kind of things. And so they did that. They did it. And they ended up with 62 bottling facilities all over Europe, and some in a few in South America. Wherever the American front lines were, there was a Coca-Cola bottling facility somewhere along there. I mean, that's fucking madness to think of that. Like, the guys thought it would have just been so crazy. And then from there, they just went on to world domination, really. They moved it up, stepped up their game. But I mean, to do that, to bottle, I don't know why it blew my mind so much, but to bottle Coke at the front lines, I thought that was pretty spectacular. It gives a reason why it's still around. Now, not as Coca-Cola as Coke now, but I mean, that really just segues. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Self-explanatory, isn't it?